What happens when a heart that has endured betrayal is forced to face the very place where those wounds were first opened? And what does it mean when Khloé Kardashian, one of the most watched women on earth, chooses to let her guard down, not in front of cameras, not in front of strangers, but in front of Malika, her most trusted confidant? On a quiet day in Cleveland, during a visit that carried both tension and memory, Khloé Kardashian opens up to Malika while navigating the complicated presence of Tristan. The air was heavy, the silence sharp, and yet within this moment, something deeply human unfolded. This wasn't about fame or fortune or the glitz that follows the Kardashians everywhere. This was about trust, pain, friendship, and the search for peace. The scene begins in Cleveland, a city Khloé Kardashian has always carried with mixed emotions. For years, it had been the backdrop of her relationship with Tristan Thompson, a place where love blossomed but also where heartbreak struck in front of the world. To outsiders, Cleveland was just another city. But for Khloé, every street, every arena, and every quiet night whispered with memories, both the joyous and the devastating. When she arrived this time, it wasn't just a trip. It was a confrontation with her past, and Malika was right there beside her. As the car pulled up to Tristan's residence, Khloé's hands rested tensely on her lap. The city skyline shimmered faintly in the distance, but her eyes were fixed on nothing. Malika, sitting close, noticed every detail: the clenched jaw, the nervous breaths, the silence that seemed to demand breaking. "You okay?" Malika whispered softly, her voice calm but loaded with concern. Khloé nodded faintly, but the truth was far more complicated. She was okay. She hadn't been okay in a long time. And yet, she had become a master of disguising that fact. This was not just another Kardashian headline. This was Khloé Kardashian, a mother, a woman, a survivor, standing in Cleveland, the city where her relationship with Tristan had been publicly tested. And as cameras waited miles away, hidden from this private moment, she opened her heart to Malika in a way few have ever seen. The visit itself had been arranged with a simple purpose. True, Khloé and Tristan's daughter deserved love from both parents. For that reason alone, Khloé Kardashian braved Cleveland again, determined to keep her daughter's life balanced. But while the visit was centered on True, the weight of the past was impossible to ignore. Inside the quiet living room, Malika could feel the tension. Tristan moved in and out, busy with conversations that hovered on politeness but never warmth. His presence was undeniable, but it was Khloé's silence that spoke louder than anything. Malika leaned in, gently urging her best friend to let it out. And finally, Khloé did. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "Malika, this place, it holds so much. Every time I walk into Cleveland, it's like I'm walking into a memory I never asked to keep." The words hung in the air, raw and heavy. For Khloé Kardashian, Cleveland was not just geography. It was a timeline of betrayal and resilience. She recalled the moments when headlines screamed her heartbreak, the late nights when trust collapsed, and the times when she felt the world watching her every decision. Malika, steady and unwavering, listened with the patience of a sister. She knew that when Khloé opened up, it wasn't casual. It was rare, vulnerable, almost sacred. "You've carried so much," Malika replied softly. "But you don't have to carry it alone, not here, not now." The friendship between Khloé Kardashian and Malika Hack has spanned decades, built on shared laughter, tears, and unshakable loyalty. In moments like this, it was more than friendship, it was survival. Malika reminded Khloé of her strength, of the woman she had become despite the scars. And as Khloé looked around the Cleveland home, she admitted something that surprised even herself. "I don't hate him anymore," she said quietly, "but I'll never forget. That's the hardest part, Malika. I can forgive for True, I can show up here in Cleveland for her, but forgetting, That's something I can't do." The honesty cut deep. It was not anger anymore that fueled Khloé, but a recognition of her own humanity. She had chosen peace over bitterness, but the echoes of the past would forever shape her. And Malika, in that moment, became the mirror reflecting back her truth. Outside, the Cleveland streets carried on with their usual rhythm, cars passing, voices echoing, life moving forward. Yet inside that room, time seemed to pause. Khloé Kardashian had opened up to Malika in a way that few had ever witnessed. She admitted her fears, her disappointments, and even her hopes. She revealed how much she wanted to shield True from the noise of the past, how she wanted her daughter to see parents who could coexist, even in Cleveland, where the wounds were still visible. Tristan entered the room briefly, his presence creating a ripple in the conversation. Malika glanced at Khloé, but Khloé remained composed. She had faced harder moments than this. She had survived public humiliation, endless judgment, and the kind of heartbreak most never endure. A visit in Cleveland was not going to break her. It was only going to remind her of how far she had come. When Tristan left again, Malika leaned closer. "You've grown so much, Khloé. You're not that girl who once questioned her worth because of him. You're stronger, and Cleveland can't take that away from you." Khloé smiled faintly, her eyes glistening. "Maybe that's why I needed this visit, to face it, to show myself that I can walk into Cleveland, sit in his space, and still feel whole." The weight of those words resonated far beyond the walls of that house. This was not just a Kardashian storyline. It was the universal story of heartbreak, healing, and the power of friendship. The Cleveland visit became more than a co-parenting duty. It became a personal reckoning. As hours passed, the conversation deepened. Khloé confessed how the betrayal had changed her perception of love, how trust felt fragile now, and how fame only made the scars harder to hide. Malika reminded her that vulnerability was not weakness but proof of strength. Together, they sat in that Cleveland home, two women navigating a reality most could never fully understand. The visit concluded quietly, without drama, without spectacle, but the significance was monumental. Khloé Kardashian had faced Cleveland again, and this time she didn't walk through it alone. She had Malika by her side, and that changed everything. As they left the house, Khloé paused for a moment, looking back, not at Tristan, not at the city, but at the past she had finally acknowledged. She didn't need to erase Cleveland from her life. She only needed to reclaim her place in it. And so, the documentary voice leaves us with this truth. Sometimes the most powerful stories are not the ones told in tabloids, but the ones whispered between friends in a quiet Cleveland room. Khloé Kardashian opened up to Malika not just about Tristan, not just about betrayal, but about herself. And in doing so, she reminded us all that healing is not about forgetting where the pain happened. It's about finding the courage to return, to open up, and to leave stronger than before.